There are few games with such a lasting legacy as League of Legends. This is due in large part to its lively competitive scene, which is filled with players constantly trying to push the boundaries of what peak League of Legends looks like. For these professional players, there is no higher goal than winning a World Championship trophy, surrounded by cheering fans on top of the world. However, only 5 players will lift that trophy every year. And perhaps because of that, a new challenge has grown from the League of Legends World Championship. One that has become far more competitive, one that everyone, even North American players, can achieve. This is the history of the League of Legends World's Airport World Record. To understand the Airport World Record, we first need to understand the origin of the League of Legends World Championship. Starting back in 2011, the first World Championship was a modest affair held in the basement of a Riot employee called Freak. The prize pool for the event was just under $100,000, which still made it one of the largest esports events at the time. And even as far back as the first championship, we can see some teams employing tactics that would eventually become staples of the airport category, such as the Southeast Asian team, Pacific Esports, which went for the tried and true no-win strategy, going 0-3 and losing out of the tournament immediately. Ending with a respectable 82 minutes and 45 seconds in-game, Pacific Esports would take the first Airport World Record. Now, given that Worlds only happens once a year, Pacific Esports was able to hold their record for that entire time. However, the record couldn't last forever. On the 4th of October 2012, it would be broken in one of the most controversial moments in the category's history. You see, on that very day, a European team known as SK Gaming discovered a devious trick to getting much faster games. They forfeited a professional game. Now, their use of this technique only granted them a 30-minute game, not even their fastest at this particular tournament, but it opened the door. Later that same day, the Southeast Asian team, Saigon Jokers, used that same trick against Najin Sword to get an unprecedented 23-minute and 43-second game. That fateful game was instrumental in securing a total in-game time of 80 minutes and 34 seconds, the fastest speedrun of the tournament, and new Airport World Record. Now, this new SK Skip, or SKIP, stirred up quite the discussion in the community about whether or not it undermined the entire category. The arguments were heated, with valid points and respected runners on both sides of the debate. But in the end, Riot made the decision for them and banned the SKIP. Additionally, it should be noted that 4 teams played the Season 2 World Championship that got immediate buys into the playoff stage of the tournament. Because some of these teams, like TSM, might only play and lose 2 best-of-3 games, they would almost certainly get the record due to how few matches they participated in. And so, the community agreed that to be eligible for the Airport World Record, only your games in the group stage would count. This ruling was justified at the time, as those who lost in the group stage would still be able to get to the airport and fly home sooner, as their games ended sooner, than those who played in the playoff stage. 2013 was a big year for competitive League of Legends, as many of the staple tournaments that make up the scene today were solidified. The broadcasts became much more professional, and the overall appearance of the scene improved dramatically. However, for the airport speedrun scene, 2013 is often remembered as being marred with controversy, cheating scandals, and baffling design choices. Season 3 was the first, and thankfully last season, to introduce the 8-game format to the airport speedrunning leaderboard. Riot and the community as a whole would no longer support the previous 3-game format, and as a result, Saigon Joker's record would never be beaten. However, the 8-game format took much longer to complete, with runs typically taking somewhere in the 5+ hour range. In addition, this season saw many egregious uses of the banned SKIP technique, the most notorious being Korea's Samsung Ozone, who, after getting a very respectable 28 minutes and 19 seconds in their first game, felt the pressure build, causing them to skip their second game at the 32-minute and 25-second mark, immediately disqualifying them from the category. Later on, North America's Team Vulcan S-kipped against Europe's Fnatic for a 21-minute and 32-second game, disqualifying them from a run that was on track to get them the world record. Despite all this controversy and cheating, there were still teams that were able to play fair and get some decent times. Europe's Lemon Dogs were able to push their time below the 5-hour mark, with a 4-hour, 46-minute, and 42-second run, a feat that would be recreated 1 hour later by North America's TSM, a team that had been disqualified from the category just 1 year prior for getting a playoffs bye. However, both of these achievements were overshadowed within the same hour by the Commonwealth of Independent States Gamer Gear EU, which managed to do the unthinkable. They broke the 4-hour mark with a 3-hour, 57-minute, and 2-second run. Now this run would be legendary, had it not been discovered that just 5 hours earlier, it had already been beaten. Just as Gamer Gear EU was about to be called the 8-game Airport world record holder, a 3-hour, 39-minute, and 31-second run was verified, coming from yet another Southeast Asian team, Mineski. Mineski's run blew everyone else's out of the water, and is still unbroken to this day, as by the end of the year, Riot retired the 8-game format, and what would take its place is a format that should be very familiar to modern airport speedrunners. With the start of the 2014 World Championship came a host of changes to the scene. By far the most important to the airport speedrun category was the introduction of the 6-game format. The 6-game format was extremely popular right out of the gate, and has been the primary format ever since. There were still some controversies this year, starting as early as the 2nd game of the tournament. SK Gaming were back to their old tricks, S-kipping their very first match at the 23-minute and 46-second mark, ending their run before it even really started. 3 days later, seemingly because they weren't having a good airport speedrun, Turkey's Dark Passage S-kipped their game against the LMS's AHQ Esports Club, ending both of their runs. This deeply upset AHQ and their fans, as they still could have gotten a competitive time. Eventually, the LMS's Taipei Assassins submitted the first 6-game format airport speedrun, a 4-hour, 6-minute, and 54-second run, and thus technically the first 6-game airport world record. However, most runners at the time knew that this record wouldn't last, and indeed it would be broken just 4 days later by Europe's Alliance, which submitted a 3-hour, 53-minute, and 11-second run. This run was quickly overshadowed by Brazil's Kaboom Esports, who submitted a time of 3 hours, 26 minutes, and 2 seconds. Many airport speedrunners at the time believed this record wouldn't last long either, as North America's LMQ was having a fantastic run, due in large part to their use of a new speedrunning method, imports. You see, despite LMQ's status as a North American team, their entire roster and staff were Chinese. This new import method seemed to be doing wonders, with LMQ on track to beat KBM's run by 4 minutes or more. However, due to a set of unfortunate circumstances and misplays, LMQ ended up getting a horrendous 47 minutes and 6-second game against Korea's Samsung Blue, completely destroying their chances and causing them to end with a 3-hour, 42-minute, and 21-second run. Similarly, while Europe's Fnatic wasn't quite on track to get an airport world record, any hopes they may have had were trashed when they got an unheard of 71-minute and 29-second game against China's Oh My God. And so the 2014 year would end with KBM holding the new 6-game airport world record. One year later, the airport speedrunning scene exploded with new faces and even better runs. The first speedrun submitted this year was from North America's Counter Logic Gaming, which submitted a commanding 3-hour, 16-minute, and 5-second run, taking the airport world record for themselves. After 5 years, NA had finally won something at Worlds, even if it wasn't what they were originally aiming for. However, like in most other things when it comes to League of Legends, NA was quickly overshadowed by their more successful Western brothers, as 1 day later, Europe's H2K Gaming submitted a time of 3 hours, 9 minutes, and 54 seconds, just missing the oh-so-coveted sub-3-hour mark. This run seemed unbeatable, though North America's Cloud9 were trying their hardest and were right on their tail. That is until they were forced to play a tiebreaker game against AHQ, which destroyed any chance they may have had at the record. No one else would even come close for the rest of the year, nor the year after. Starting in 2017, Riot began using a play-in stage to give more teams a chance to progress to the main event. Since this play-in stage would end before the group stage, losing out of it would be the fastest way to the airport. However, many in the airport speedrunning community were worried that Riot would start messing with the play-in format, like they had with the group stage in earlier years. And so to avoid more headaches in the future, it was decided that the category would be split in two. This created the classic airport speedrun category, which would continue to only count games in the group stage, and an any percent category, in which a team could fail out of the play-in stage for a faster time. As it is still the more popular category, we will continue to follow the classic airport speedrun. Like the previous year, no one in 2017 could even come close to beating H2K's record. The best time across the whole tournament was AHQ's 3-hour, 31-minute, and 8-second run, still over 20 minutes behind the 2015 run. Although something of interest did happen in 2017. North America's Immortals performed a run that was nowhere close to achieving the record, but featured many experimental and quite entertaining moments. This culminated with quite a well-known event.
The bot lane, the support going down. 3v4, Immortals wants to run away, but Fnatic, they want this one. The chase forward on Pumble, they're not quite the blade color range, and just barely missing onto that Miasma. There's still more to be done. They're looking for the kill. Redman's gonna come in, and Brock's gonna get the kill credit on that one. And the flash bar goes up. Oh, the insect but betrays his teammate, and it's gonna be the ace for Fnatic.
Again, while runs like this aren't very competitive, many runners began creating their own unique and entertaining techniques, and one region stood out among them all. With 2018 came yet another set of teams trying to take H2K's record. For a while it seemed like yet again a year would go by without anyone getting close. However, the LMS's Flash Wolves were trying hard to get there, and in the end, they would have beaten it by just a minute and a half, but they had to play a tiebreaker game that cost them everything. Another team was ready to pick up the torch though. North America's 100 Thieves were looking to avenge CLG's lost record, and in the end, they managed a 3-hour and 43-second run, again, just barely missing the sub 3-hour mark. 100 Thieves' run, like Immortals, was fairly novel and fun to watch, with them securing the fastest single game between two major regions in World's history up to that point. After 3 years, H2K's record had been broken, but 100 Thieves wouldn't be the ones with the world record, as at the same time the LMS's G-Rex completed a run in 2 hours, 53 minutes, and 42 seconds, finally beating the sub 3-hour mark. That legendary run finished off the 2018 World Championship, with G-Rex taking the Airport Speedrun world record. 2019 came and went without a new record, but in that time yet another North American team pushed the limits of the category.
No way, they go, they ping, and there we go!
They're gonna start it off. Fnatic are just gonna run straight in for the fight, they just need to clear the waves. It's the base res cam, give it to us! But now it's just a matter of can they hold on? There's just too much damage, the tower is not enough from Cody's son. I don't think they can do it, the tower has been broken down, the Nexus has been taken down, and Clutch bet it all, and lose everything in the process.
Even with this technique, Clutch didn't get the record, but thanks to the trailblazing they and other North American teams were doing, the average run times were being driven lower and lower. But the best was still to come. One North American team would do more for the category than any other, a team that has been a staple since the beginning. 2020 brought an interesting change. The LMS and Southeast Asia, two regions that had been very dominant in the airport speedrun category, were merged into the PCS. This merging meant that now there were going to be fewer teams from those regions to compete with, but the teams that did come would be even more formidable than before. And indeed, PSG Talon did manage to eke out a 2-hour, 46-minute, and 43-second run, securing the world record for the new region. But 2020 is not remembered for PSG, it's remembered for a particular moment coming from a particular North American team.
Channels there, flash engage for Broken Blade, they want in, Light's gonna save one. Will it be enough though? Ornhorn comes out, will not find the knockup. An ulti backwards now for Broken Blade, 5-on-5 still happening. Rascal gets hooked in, Stoneplate will time out. Can TSM find the first kill? Speaker's gonna get in, that is a 5-man sweep. If TSM can't win this, what will they? 1-for-0, the burn on Rascal just not enough. A single kill on only a support. Can't believe they couldn't get more. Well,
TSM came up with maybe the most incredible airport speedrun ever, and people noticed. Their run captured the hearts and minds of fans across the world, and brought more viewers and new runners to the category than ever before. It wasn't enough to get the record, but people knew North America would get the record for real eventually. It was only a matter of time. With new runners and new eyes on the category, everyone wanted to get the record now more than ever. North American teams in particular were itching to finally get the record once and for all. but they just couldn't seem to get a sub 3-hour run, let alone the record. For a while, it looked like China's LNG esports might get the record with an incredible first 3 games, but in the end, they were still 8 minutes short, and so 2021 was yet another year ending in failure. But then came 2022. The 12th World Championship saw some of the best runs of all time. The longest run at the whole event was 3 hours, 14 minutes, and 54 seconds from China's top esports, and 2 teams got sub 3-hour runs. But it was more than that. For the first time ever, it was North American teams that managed to get the sub 3-hour runs. Evil Geniuses started off with an incredible sub 24-minute game and kept the momentum throughout the entire event. But Cloud9 was back after years of irrelevancy in the category, and they were pulling no punches.
Cut the tape! Alright, oh wait, here we go, the 1v1, Auto 1v1, Jensen up currently 2-0, Faker, can he bring it back? Jensen, can he take the best of 5 against Faker in the 1v1? That's all that matters! Can he get it? Sure, he can flip! Go on! Can he take the best of 5? Faker coming back! Faker with the stop! He takes down Jensen and D1 will take down Cloud9! Ladder leaping in, Faker the best, a few more towers for Sven, one more tower for T1. Just about start to finish dominance. Flashy moments, some highlight plays from the side of C9. They gave us the montages we were hoping for, but T1 did it even better. Zerker backing away, T1 finding the win. Their fate to be decided in our final game of the day. Woo-wee!
When all was said and done, Evil Geniuses got a 2-hour, 46-minute, and 11-second run, beating PSG's run by just 32 seconds. But one day earlier, Cloud9 got a monumental 2-hour, 42-minute, and 53-second run, comfortably securing them the Airport Speedrun world record, and finally bringing North America a record that would last longer than a day. Cloud9 now reigns as the Airport Speedrun world record holder, and North American fans across the world can be content that one of their own has finally secured it. Just looking at all the different records over the years would never give you the full story, never tell you the work put in, the sacrifices made to set these times and achieve these records. This has been the history of the League of Legends World Championship Airport World Record. Thanks for watching.